Welcome to the Shadowing Monkey. Today I have a very exciting topic for all of you. Today I'd like to talk about something that's going to shock not just Japanese language enthusiasts and Japanese natives, for whom I have the highest respect, admiration, and gratitude, but the Japanese language grammar world to its very own foundations. Some people will call me ignorant, others will call me crazy, and all sorts of names. And maybe with a little bit of luck, a few might call me bold and even might say, "You are totally right." Traditional Japanese grammar divides Japanese verbs into three groups: Godan verbs, Ichidan verbs, and irregular verbs. The Godan term makes sense because it refers to the 5 steps or 5 inflections used to conjugate or decline a Godan type verb. The 5 steps are based on the 5 vowels of the Japanese language as follows. Step 1, A. Step 2, E. Step 3, U. Step 4, E. Step 5, O. So basically A, E, U, E, O. And that's why they call it the 5-step system. So it makes perfect sense to call this a Godan or 5-step declination system. But what about the Ichidan group? Why call it Ichidan? If we play by the same rules, Ichidan would imply that it only has one declination, wouldn't it? Now, I could be wrong, but the person or persons who decided to call it Ichidan could be wrong as well. So let's look at the evidence. In Godan verbs, each step has a particular purpose as follows. Step 1, vowel A is used to make the negative form. Step 2, vowel E is used to make the noun masu form. Step 3, U it makes the infinitive form. Step 4, E is used to make the imperative form. And lastly, step 5, O is used to make the volitional form. So far, so good. So it is easy to see why one would want to call this conjugation pattern a 5-step system. But if we go back to the Ichidan group, it makes no sense to call it a 1-step pattern because that would imply that it only has one declination. And I don't think that's the case. And this could very well be a source for confusion for Japanese learners and even for Japanese natives who are trying to explain things to foreigners. Now, we can try to make sense out of the down part in Godan and the down part in Ichidan if they refer to totally different things or dance. For example, the Godan refers to declining the last syllable, the suffix, and the Ichidan refers to declining the verb base. But that wouldn't help with standardization. It isn't very considerate to use the same term to refer to 2 different concepts, does it? Unless your goal is to confuse your users. In any case, both terms are inaccurate if you ask me, because all Japanese verbs have more than just 5 declinations. In fact, they have 7 declinations in total. Everybody seems to ignore the da form and the te form. So here's the 7 declinations. 1, negative form. 2, noun masu form. 3, infinitive form or dictionary form. 4, imperative form. 5, volitional form. 6, past form or ta form. 7, continuous form or te form. 7 conjugations. There are 7 forms. If anything, a more appropriate way to call it would be Shichidan Katsuyo or Lokudan Katsuyo, because the ta and te deflections are one and the same. Verb groups could then be arranged in 7 groups of regular verbs and 1 group of irregular verbs. The 7 groups can be classified as vowel plus ru, which in Japanese they call la-gyo. Group 2, vowel plus yu, which in Japanese is called the a-gyo. And 3, verbs ending in tsu, which would be the ta-gyo. 4, ku-gu, which would be the ka-gyo. Umu-nu, which in Japanese is the bagyo, magyo, nagyo. And then 6, su, verbs ending in su, which would be the sagyo. And lastly, verbs ending in eru, taberu, neru, etc. So this is something that nobody really ever mentions. I mean, I was looking around in the internet and YouTube yesterday for many hours, hoping to find a video or teacher who mentions all 7 declinations. Why is everybody ignoring the fact that there are ta and te, the past form and the continuous form? I call it the ing form. But it seems to me strange that nobody seems to mention them. It's like they don't exist. When they say, everybody says, oh, Japanese conjugations are so easy. It's just 5 conjugations, and just follow the order of the vowels in Japanese. A, I, U, E, O. It's only 5 conjugations. Yeah? Well, in which world do they live? Yeah, it's 5 conjugations. And what about ta and te? What? They don't exist? Am I the only one? Do I live in a different world? Because in my world, there is the past form and the continuous form, the ta and te conjugations. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I live in a different world. Why is everybody ignoring ta and te? Anyway, I was lucky enough to find at least one. I found one guy who's making videos about learning Japanese. I've never seen him before. He has a very small channel. And let me show you. Here it is. Here. Please listen to the video. He's explaining about Godan verbs.
私はうちらの仕事、すると国以外の話です。うちらの人と同じく長野するベースがあって、目標に使います。最初の5つするベースは最後の花の量に下がります。例えば、キカ、キキ、キク、キケ、キコ。というわけで、呼ばれる動詞はベースの詞が和になります。ベース的と単は。
You see, this guy, he's on the right track. He is including the te and the ta forms in the conjugations. Okay, his video is about Godan verbs. But regardless of that, he's including the ta and te forms. As I said, that's the best way to learn it. There's no reason to learn them as in two different sessions or as two separate different things. You know, if we're talking about conjugations, then we should be talking about the ta and the te form as well.
あちら側にですね、お便りのボタンがあります。するて、で、組み手がで、そしてお手をす。
This guy is on the right track. Actually, I did miss some more looking around, and because I was looking for a Godan chart, so I just kept looking and looking, and I actually was able to find something very close to, to a complete verb conjugation chart. It's actually a complete verb conjugation chart, except that it could be a little bit clearer. So let me show you. Okay, so here is. This is the Godan verb conjugation chart that I'm talking about right here. And so here you can see how, well, what everybody already knows. The conjugation based on the 5 Japanese vowels, a, I, U, E, O. And then, so that's your 5 go down. But on top of that, they have the conjugations for the ta and te forms. Now, if you're a beginner Japanese learner, you most likely can't read all of this kanji, but I can. And so that's one of the drawbacks of this website, that it's in Japanese. But if you want to look it up and you can't read kanji, you can just go to this website. I will put the link in the description so that you can find it. Anyway, so this goes to show that there are more than 5 conjugations, and that they should be learned together, all 7 conjugations, or 6 conjugations, because ta and te forms are the same. And so all 6 conjugations should be learned together. Why 5? Why not 6? One more. It's not a big deal. Just one more conjugation. Instead of just learning 5, you learn 6. No big deal. It's not a big jump. It's not something like it's not really difficult to just add 1. If the other 5 Godan Katsuyo are really easy, like everybody makes it sound, well, then adding the ta and te conjugations to the table wouldn't be any problem at all, would it? So it says, this is the index of the program. It says, let's think about what aspects of the language we have to teach before teaching the te form. And so this whole paper talks about, different approaches to teach the te form. I mean, basically what they're saying, okay, just show your students drawings of the verbs and make sure that they know what the verb is for each drawing that they see. So, but basically this is just an example of a Japanese school inside their school that they have problems, that the students have a hard time learning the ta and the te form. Well, hopefully I have succeeded in getting my point across that there are more than just 5 Japanese conjugations. It's not just the Godan conjugations. The Godan conjugations are missing two conjugations or one. Let's just call it one because it is the same conjugation for the ta and the te form. Well, hopefully you got my point. That will be all for this video. And so please like and subscribe if you haven't.